So, hello and welcome to this edition of Let's Hear It from the Expert. It gives me great pleasure to introduce our industry expert today, a professional with over 2 decades of experience in the finance and telecom industry, Mr. Abhilash Chatterjee. So, on behalf of Christ Team to be University Lavasa, the hub of analytics, I, Arpita Ghosh, welcome you, sir.
Thank you so much, Arpita. It's indeed a pleasure, and thanks for giving me this opportunity as well. And I'll be more than happy to take your questions, and if you want to learn about my views on the industry and things like that, would be more than happy to contribute to the same. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Wow, that's really wonderful, sir. But before we really move on to our interaction, I think I would just introduce our industry expert in a better way by giving some more information. So, Mr. Abhilash Chatterjee is a seasoned techno commercial professional, and he has worked in various geographies, which include India, Africa, Middle East, and SAARC. So, he has experience as a vendor and user of technology and specializes in fintech, digital banking, mobile payments, mobile financial services, microfinance, microbanking, wallets, alternate payment mechanisms for digital media. Wow, that's really quite a lot. So I think we really have a lot to share, Abhilash. Looking forward to that. What do you think, or what has been your observation with respect to the kind of job openings available today?
Well, I tell you, Arpita, I mean, there's been a sea change. There's been a big shift, as I would say, and big data, AI, ML are going to be the future. I mean, cloud-based AI, ML and big data. These are the two important, I would say, pillars, for this data explosion which is happening. I mean, there is data everywhere, right? Social media, banking data, telecom data. There's data everywhere. But how do we process it? How do we use it? How do we use it to the best of our abilities? Traditionally, I'm just giving a small example. When we had to take a loan, we used to go to a bank branch and we used to fill a form, or somebody was to come to our house, take all those applications. And we used to just go and give it, the forms. We used to put there was not even the Aadhaar card at that time. We used to have the PAN card and some proof of your ration card or some card, where you say you live here, or your electricity bill. And then that loan officer used to process that loan, and then we used to get that loan and probably rejected. We didn't even come to know why after 15 days it's been rejected. CIBIL was new. CIBIL has just come in 12 years back. So CIBIL in the sense of credit bureaus, I would say. So there are 4 credit bureaus in India at the moment. So what I'm trying to say is the process of getting a loan itself was a very cumbersome one. Today, the same thing is being driven because I am able to apply online. I'm able to make some credit decisioning, which is the most important fact, which was taking 10 days before, or 5 days or 7 days, even for a small amount, for a 50,000, say, personal loan, is happening on the fly. You're getting pre-approved loans. The reason being is there is AI, ML, and big data playing the most important role behind this force of your getting this credit decisioning on the fly. Credit decisioning on the fly, along with artificial intelligence and machine learning algorithms running behind it. So, hey, when Abhilash Chatterjee is applying for a loan, it immediately tracks what Abhilash's CIBIL is and whatever they might be hitting from the credit bureau side, and also getting probably some details about his persona, his previous, his bank statement analyzer. All this data is giving a weighted score, an alternate score, and telling about the persona of Abhilash. Will he default? What are the chances of default? The predictive analysis is happening around Abhilash, and it's giving, looking at all these things, it's throwing up a score. And that score is helping the credit guy to underwriter to say whether is the credit underwriter, whether I should give Abhilash Chatterjee a loan, and if yes, what is the range of the loans I can give Abhilash. He has applied for, say, a 5 lakh rupee loan, but I feel because of the scoring, I can bucket it into a 2 lakh rupee loan. So all these predictions are coming up because of AI, ML, and the big data, the data which is sitting, and it's, some data is real-time streaming data, some is accumulated data over his previous spends, which Abhilash Chatterjee has done or anyone has done. So there is a plethora of data which we are sitting on. There are tons and tons of data we are sitting on, and we don't have good data scientists, data engineers, and AI ML experts to harness the value of that data. So the data is there. Data is there in various forms. It could be video data. Even when you do your KYC, right? Nowadays, you do a lot of your KYC using eKYC or CKYC.
Yes.
All this is happening because of AI ML technologies. The RegTech, the regulation technology is all AI ML based. So when it picks up your Aadhaar image and checks with your actual image which you have given, or you're running video, sometimes you do a video KYC. So it checks whether this is the same person Abhilash or is the same person Arpita, and checks with the Aadhaar and does a lot of matching. Then there's the OCR, which picks up my date of birth, checks whether the date of birth matches. So all these kind of things are possible with AI ML, and of course the data which is lying on basis which we are doing all this. I see a lot of, I would advise a lot of young entrepreneurs who want to, are getting started, to look at AI ML and big data as the turning point in the careers, because I know a lot of people who are doing these courses and some of them are my colleagues and some of them are acquaintances who are doing some courses because there's a lot of market for it and there's a need, because of which the product managers are also equipping themselves with such kind of courses. It's a need. It's going to become a necessity, and there's a big huge market waiting for young budding guys who can break rich and revolutionize the data value. The value of data has to come out, right?
True.
So I see a lot of
if I have to really ask, because the kind of understanding we normally have, if you're looking at the finance industry, okay, you have the banking, like we said. So we all know that you will have a cashier and you will have somebody, the marketing, a teller, but if you have to really look at the kind of job openings that are available today in the finance industry because of the AI ML that we are talking about, or the technology and the big data that we're talking about, what are the kind of career options that are there, for students?
Well, I'll be very, you'll be surprised to know, just like, we don't see a lot of people now going to a bank to withdraw money. I'm not saying all of them, but I think I and you probably don't go to a cashier to withdraw money anymore. We go to the ATMs, right? It's become a habit. It's become a new normal, right? Just going to the ATM, or not even using the ATM, just transacting on UPI or things like that, or a wallet-based transaction. Now, similarly, these roles, like you mentioned, since you mentioned the cashier, all these things in the new way of banking, which they call the neo banking or digital banking, may become a thing of the past. The branches may be digital branches, because you may not need them. I'm not saying they'll be totally obsolete, but a majority of the people may not use them because everything will be available on your fingertips. And how will that be available is because of people who will drive this technology, make applications around the AI ML, which I just spoke of. And for the new finance guys, the new normal will not be just to sit on the tally or the ERP, which they use, but also look at RPA, which is robotic process automation. So a lot of their daily tasks, which is kind of cumbersome task. Somebody, I know people in the industry who are CAs, and what they're doing, they're just doing end of day file, kind of transmission. They're making files in Excel, processing it a bit, and then just mailing it or putting it in a folder where somebody is picking it up and doing some analysis. So all these kind of jobs where there's no value add from a CA doing such kind of a job, or a MBA finance doing such a, I see these things becoming obsolete day by day, because technology will help that same CA who was, or the same MBA finance person who was, or even a BBA guy who was doing that kind of a job, a cron job running, or some kind of macros running on an Excel, and picking up a file email from an email and doing it. All that can be automated using RPA. There are companies like Automation Anywhere, UiPath, which bring this kind of revolutionary, which are the leaders in this RPA thing, which is robotic process automation, and all this kind of this pick, pull, dump process will be done by AI/ML based algorithms. So you don't need a person to invest his time. So the job profiles will change. So you will not have, and I'm not saying the teller will go away, but you will have less tellers. In 20 years, probably you'll have more digital banks which will come in. Already in Europe, we have the Revolut, the Monzos of the world, which are the new digital banks, which are only for the Gen Z. And they don't have a branch. You don't need to go to a branch. They even open your account sitting at your home. You put your social security ID, which is SSID in US, and you put your passport copy or probably some residency, and your account is open, and you start transacting. And if you want to put money, you can just put the account number or the mobile number, and you send money to each other. So what I'm trying to say is that that teller's job will, slowly diminish. We don't use the typewriter anymore, right? Do we? So
No.
similarly, a teller in a bank may become obsolete in a few years, or I don't know. I can't predict the time, but
Yeah, we
it's going
can't,
to
right, we can't predict that. But that's what I'm saying. It has given rise to probably new job profiles, like, I
totally,
mean,
Joan.
like a data analyst and
I'll,
something
I'll
along those
I'll I'll
lines.
tell you that there's a lot of boom, and as I speak, there is a total lacuna in the tech world.
Mhm.
For there are so many jobs available, but there are not people available because there are not
Oh,
so many trained people available in as a data analyst, as a data engineer, as a data scientist. So these are the jobs, the ones I'm naming: the data analyst, the data scientist, the data specialist. Then obviously the product manager who sits on top of it and designs the product
right.
for a digital product,
Okay.
and so on and so forth. And even if you're in a non-finance kind of a CPG world, or
Mhm.
you're in consumer industry, or you go to any of the industry, you need to know the technology. Gone are the days when you say that somebody will open the SAP and ERP and do the things for me. Boss, those days are gone. You have to do it yourself.